You know, the word reptilian kind of gets on my nerves a lot because it's really not that true that they're reptilians. It's more or less, I mean, it is kind of true, but I mean, the demons like to manifest as snakes, but it's more or less that they're the Nephilim bloodline, the vampire bloodline, the dragon, really. Um, the dragon is Dracula, the original, the devil, you know, dragon bloodline. It's the Nephilim. The bloodline of the Nephilim is really what they are. They're all over TV. It's all the bloodline of the Nephilim, all over TV. And you can know them by their teeth. You'll know them by their teeth. Look how sharp their teeth are. A lot of them actually have real fangs, like vampires. You know. Some of us European Caucasians have sharp teeth, but we're not necessarily vampires. But some of these actual real Nephilim, actual have a lot of the bloodline in them, have fangs and have the slitted eyes, which manifests, which can change shape into slits. I mean, some of them are shapeshifters. Some of them are just the bloodline. They're not shapeshifters. That's why you see the dragon on all these crests and stuff. Like that's why they like the dragon so much. That's the symbolism of the Targaryens, of the dragons, of the Targaryens in Game of Thrones. It symbolizes the dragon bloodlines. To be honest with you, I probably got some of the dragon bloodline in me. I ain't gonna lie. Maybe I got some of the vampire bloodline. But that isn't. Your bloodline does not define you. Your bloodline doesn't define you. So, man is defined by his actions. Not the actions of his ancestors. Everyone in Europe is a little reptilianish because it's just all the mixing of the serpent seed with the Caucasians. But these vampires, the real ones, the real actual royalty, who are the products of incest. That's why they preserve the bloodline pure. They're called pure bloods because they're the products of incest and inbreeding. These pure bloods are the actual real descendants of Nimrod, who are the Nephilim. And they're not just hybrids, but they're real pure Nephilim descendants, like vampires. They're the products of incest. So that's why there's so psychopathy among this bloodline, and so much insanity and derangement of these dragon bloodlines. It's because of the incest. The incest and the curses, generational curses from being involved in the witchcraft and the occult. These people aren't loyal to their own bloodline, anyways. They betray their own. Like, even if you have a Freemason in your family, that makes you more likely to be gang stalked when you have Freemasons hidden in your family. They don't have any respect for their own. Well, my grandfather is not even really, like, he wasn't even really my real grandfather, so I guess the step family has no problem partaking in I don't know, it's just, your bloodlines don't count for anything, though. Your pedigree don't count for anything to the royal families. Apparently, they don't give a shit. And you're the ones with all the money. You're the ones that could stop this gang stalking, But it's because of my, me being a Christian is why these royal families, these crypto J words, these mixed incested bloodlines. This is why they hate us so much. But they could put a stop to these gang stalkers at any time they wanted to. I have bloodlines that go back all the way to the very beginning of England, Scotland. I don't care about my bloodlines. These Masons aren't loyal to anybody. Disrespectful is what they are. Traitors is what they are. I was looking it up. Actually, the original Freemasons, the second offshoot that came from the Knights Templar, that came from the Sinclair clan of Scotland, was like the main clan that started up the actual real modern day Freemasons. So it has a lot of roots in Scotland after it changed over from the Templar Knights and the Teutonic Knights too, who were also the Masons. So the Scotland clans have been very involved in the occult for a long time. That's where you get the Freemason sheepskin is like honestly the regalia of the Freemasons is very Scottish looking. They wear it almost like a dress, like the Scottish do. Everything they wear looks basically Highlander-ish. So yeah, it makes sense because the Freemasons, the modern day offshoot, were started by the Scottish clans, particularly the Sinclair clan, which came from the dragon bloodline. like I said, the Freemasons themselves, the Templars, the Teutonic Knights had their roots all in the Phoenicians, and also in the Turkic, the Hunnic bloodline too, from the east, Aryans. But the phoenix is the symbol, one of the main symbols of the Freemasons. Um, Phoenicians heavily influenced it. Makes sense because the Phoenicians came to, Britain, Great Britain, a long time ago. But basically, the modern day offshoot of Freemasonry, not the Templars per se, but the Freemasons, came from came from Scotland, Scottish clans, Scottish nobility clans, and a lot of these clans aren't even from Scotland, particularly the clan known as the Drumans. They're from the Hunnic bloodline from Hungary. One of their descendants that started their clan came from the vampire bloodline from Hungary. It became the Drummond clan of Scotland. So all these clans necessarily aren't even from Scotland that became the Scottish clans. I mean, did they really have anything to do with the actual original inhabitants of Scotland, like the Picts? Or are these just a bunch of Anglo-Saxon invaders, from the mainland? So I think that's probably more likely the case, or more or less Anglo-Saxons, immigrants pretty much. Their names aren't very, it's pretty much the Old English language that comes from the Germans. It doesn't come from the Celtic language of the natives, or the Pictish language. So these people have English type names, or even these Scottish people do. They don't sound very like old Scottish, or old Gaelic. The names don't sound Gaelic. They sound English. Even the Irish names, some of the Irish names sound English. They all have the English, Old English roots to them. They all have like Mac in front of them. McGuinness, McGregor, McDonald, McDiarmid, Ian McDiarmid. He's a Scottish. He's the guy that played the Emperor. And then there's McMillan, the guy that played Magneto's clan. So a lot of these famous people come from Scottish clans. Just to show you that the Freemason clans are very powerful. So yeah, I don't really think these people come from the original. Maybe they don't even really come from the original Pictish, Scottish, natives. Maybe they're just from Anglo-Saxons, from the mainland. But that's where the blue from the Scottish flag comes from. It comes from the Picts who used blue war paint on their faces. That's why I put the Braveheart character in my photo, in my profile picture, because I got some Scottish bloodlines, and I like to show off that I'm part of the Scottish bloodline. Plus, I like the Scottish were warriors. It just symbolizes that, you know, being you know, being free, being a warrior, pretty much. So yeah, I indicate more of this Scottish heritage that I do with Irish heritage. Even if I have a little Irish heritage, I don't really identify too much with it culturally. Um, I know I got some Welsh heritage too. More likely, it's just some English and Scottish heritage. And I know I got some Phoenician heritage too. And I'm also probably a part of the Hunnic bloodline. Maybe I'm part of the vampire bloodline too. So all I know is I got some pedigree, royal pedigree, or some noble pedigree, and I'm being treated like crap by this society because these people don't give a shit about anyone's pedigree. It was these Freemasons, probably within my own family, that put me on, that sold me out. Because you Freemasons tried to get, in my family, tried to get me to sell my soul to the devil. So yeah, it's your own family that betrays you into the hands of the devil. Yeah, I got a lot of distant family members involved in the occult that don't talk about it. It's like, I got a lot of, my family name is a famous family name. I'm actually related to all of them. It's just, no one gives a shit about me. I've been turned into been basically ostracized. You know, for my faith in Jesus Christ, really. So yeah, I'm not just some peasant like some of these other targeted individuals. You know, I ain't just some peasant. I come from a good family. But yeah, it has a lot to do with these Scottish clans being involved historically with Freemasonry, and also these Germanic families being involved in it, and English families, and Swiss families, because the Swiss came from the Templars, and the Franks were involved in the Freemasons, the Templars, and the Spanish, and the Italians. It's all over Europe. The Templars are very widespread. But yeah, that's why they wear the sheepskin in Freemasonry, because obviously that the Scots were sheep herders, you know, and they just said, oh, let's just put a sheepskin on our kilt and call it the Freemasons, you know. And that's why they're all involved in the occult and everything, because the previous knights were all into studying the occult and stuff, so they just kind of stole other occult traditions and just put it into their synthesized Freemason cult. So yeah, they wear the sheepskin because it's like the kilt, pretty much, like wearing, like kind of like wearing a skirt. Um, See, not all the Scottish clans were involved in the Freemasons, but the evil ones were. They were like the lords of the manor, the lords over the land, pretty much. They had a lot of money. They were sheep herders. Um, That's why they got the sheepskin on their in the Freemasons. And the sheep herders, they lended money. They were money lenders. They lended money to peasants, or not peasants, but people that lived on the land. It was feudalism. And they were pretty much just like these snobby Scottish clans, pretty much, that thought they were like the hot shit. And I don't know. I need to do more research on the history of it. I don't know. It's really hard keeping all this history in my head about all these different countries and different bloodlines and stuff, trying to piece it all together. It's really complex. Like, especially with the Russian Slavs, it's really complex with the... I'm going to make another video on them because trying to cram too much information into this video, like, it's just going to confuse too many people.